I'm so excited to be back with you for a Bookworm Buzz. It's been about 2 years since there's been a Bookworm Buzz, but it's back and it will be back monthly, and I'm really excited about it. This is a little book zine that myself, and there's lots of input from my little and Floss as well, with books that we think are great recommendations for you. So I'm going to go through a few on here and just give you a little bit of an inside peek, because I think that's often the hardest thing when it comes to actually going and choosing kind of books for your children, especially as they kind of get older. It can be quite hard to work out kind of what to go for, because there's just so many fantastic books out there. So this is hopefully going to give you a little bit of an inside look at what is out there and available. So at the moment, puzzling books are big in our house, and these are kind of great kind of little entertainment items. Now, I couldn't find Summer Surprise. Who knows what she's done with that one, but at the moment she's working through the Puzzle Quest Time Traveller in here, and I'll just give you kind of a little look inside. It's actually a story that you work through, and you have to build up each of the clues to be able to help you work out what's happening in the story. So she absolutely loves these. Really great for number and kind of word problems. So those are the Puzzle Quest ones. Cluedo, it's a little bit more advanced. I do quite like it's not the spine, is it? What am I thinking of? Outer cover bit. My brain can't think. So this one has lots of different kind of tasks and things, a bit more wordy than what the other one is, but again a really nice kind of deep kind of puzzling, and there's lots and lots kind of within this one of different types of puzzles, whereas kind of the Puzzle Quest is very much kind of number and kind of word based. These ones are really kind of getting your brain thinking, so a great option. Pandora in Puzzlevale, if you read the Phoenix magazine, then this has been featured in the Phoenix, and this is again a story where you need to go through and help solve the puzzles as you go through. Again, I'd say this is kind of more on kind of a similar sort of level to the Cluedo one, where I would kind of say these are probably about 9 kind of years plus, whereas the Puzzle Quest, I'd say probably more from kind of, I don't know, 7 kind of plus would be a good sort of age for that. So yes, we do love these type of books. Bunny versus Monkey is the other one, and this one again I'd kind of say from around 7 plus. This is again, if you read the Phoenix magazine, you may have kind of seen about this, and there are lots of different bits. You can see she's kind of filled in and done quite a lot of this one already. So they're just really brilliant kind of boredom busters, as I'd call them, but totally screen free and lots of fun. So moving on, the big cats, you'll find out a little bit more. I'll see if I can link to a video for the Crazy About Cats one, and there is a blog post on the website about the girl who lost a leopard. So moving on in, we go into an illustrator spotlight. So Emily Gravitt is somebody who we adore, and I don't think it matters what age you are. I just think her books are absolutely wonderful. So I could have picked so many, but we went for some of our absolute favourites. So Dogs, for me, is a fantastic one, and it used to be one that when I was teaching I'd use as a guided reading book, because it has got lots and lots of fabulous descriptive language. But what I love about it is they're words that actually children who are really just kind of beginning with reading can have a really good kind of guess at because of the illustrations, a really good guess at, and kind of using some of their phonics knowledge as well, and some of their tricky words kind of within there as well. And they get a real sense of becoming a reader, because they can actually read a real book. Whereas lots of kind of the books that you end up getting in school don't necessarily feel real to kind of start off with. This feels like a real book that you get to enjoy. Meerkat Mail is just delightful. Think like the Jolly Pocket Postman kind of books, where you have got the lovely Sonny who lives in the Kalahari Desert, and he wants to kind of go off on an adventure and just have a little bit of alone time. But there's lots of these kind of little notes. It's a really lovely one. Let me show you here. For if you're trying to encourage writing and looking at different styles of writing, and this is just a magical one to get children really excited. So that's Meerkat Mail. And then the last one is a Floss favourite, which is again, I just love all of Emily's illustrations. They're just wonderful, and this nearly every parent I think can relate to, where it's nearly bedtime but the little one wants a story, but mummy's a bit tired. I know this feeling very well, but it's again, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful story. And a little bit at the back, look, there's like a little burn through hole. It's brilliant. So a wonderful, wonderful author illustrator, and one that we'd highly recommend all of her books. We'd kind of only got space for 3. Monkey and Me is another one that we absolutely adored as well, and is more along the lines of kind of the dog, kind of in the amount of text within it as well. So moving on to graphic novels, we are huge graphic novel fans in this house, and we've picked out 2 this time. We've got Bumble and Snug, which we've actually had a little look at in a previous video. So again, I'll try and see if I can link, or I'll pop it down in the description below. But this sees the wonderful friends Bumble and Snug. Here's Bumble and here's Snug, and they're yet again off on another little adventure. So this one is brilliant for if children are just wanting to kind of dip their toe into the water of graphic novels and they are beginning to become independent readers. There's kind of short little bursts of texts that are really nicely and clearly defined away from the illustrations, and lots of fun. And each of the books, so this is Bumble and Snug and the Worried Dragons, so each of them are based around a feeling as well, and this is book 5. Again, we think these are fabulous. So Donut Squad, I have one question for you. Are you Team Donut Squad, or are you Bagel Battalion? And depending upon the answer to that, depends upon whether we can continue to be friends or not. Donut Squad, again, is a David Fickling and comes from the Phoenix comic books. If you haven't looked at the Phoenix kind of magazines, we love them. They're a weekly publication that we subscribe to, and they're fantastic. My favourite donut, Anxiety Donut. So it goes through who your donuts are. And it is just utter unadulterated fun, and I would say it's one of those comics that even as an adult it's really quite enjoyable. So as you can kind of see, there's a little bit kind of more text than what you had for Bumble and Snug, and also the thing that's worth noting with this is that the typeface is in capital letters. So if you've got a child who hasn't yet got that fluency with capital letters like they have with lowercase, and this might be one that you just want to wait a little bit for. There's lots of kind of little draw along kind of bits and things. There's also in the back of, I think nearly always in anything that comes from the Phoenix, you have got these kind of little draw along bits on the end that are fantastic. So top recommendation from us, but like I say, depends whether you're Team Donut Squad or Bagel Battalion on whether we can continue to be friends or not. Okie dokie. Super Questers. I've got a post on the blog for that one, so do check out that one if you'd like to find out a little bit more about Super Questers. They're amazing STEM books. Book match, I have got for you Omar, the Bees and Me, and the Bumblebee Garden. Both incredible books. So Omar, the Bees and Me is just this beautiful, beautiful book about pollination, but also about friendship. And the little lad, Omar, has recently moved into this kind of class and into the country. So it's a very wonderful book about friendship and inclusion, and of course the wonderful world of our bees. So really fabulous, totally love it. There is a little read along that on the website. I've put a little link to where the publishers, Owlet Press, have got a little read along of this one, so definitely worth checking that out. Then the Bumblebee Garden is, again, it's a picture book, but again it's one that's giving us lots and lots of information. So the Bumblebee Garden goes through the life cycle of a bee through this story of the lovely Ben and his grandpa, and it's beautifully illustrated. It's a little kind of lengthier, as you can kind of see, than a standard kind of picture book on text, which is quite nice if you've got a child who really likes a bit of story and wants things to be a little bit meatier than what some of the picture books kind of are. But yes, a really, really beautiful, beautiful book, and also go through the life cycle of the Queen Bumblebee. So if you're looking at bees, this is definitely one that we would highly recommend. I'm stacking these up in the corner. We'll see how we go. Right, moving on. So audiobooks. This is a new feature within the Bookworm Buzz because we adore our audiobooks. So on kind of these ones, there's a selection of some of the newer ones that have come out from some of the audio players. So you've got Yoto Player, you have got Vox Block, and also Tony Vox as well. Moving on to favourites. I don't have a flick through, I'm afraid, of Into Goblin Wood for you. It was a library one, but it was wonderful, kind of full of magic and fairies and adventure and just fabulous, but a bit more kind of meaty, so definitely kind of more for that kind of much more confident reader, because it's quite a hefty kind of thick book. The Story Orchestra series, we picked out the Midsummer Night's Dream, but we could have picked out any of them because they are all exceptional. If you haven't come across this series before, they are an illustrated format, and you get these little buttons on each kind of page where it just says press here, and you can press and then you get a little piece of that classical music. It tells the story as it goes through as well. They are just incredible, and the bit that we really love at the back is it tells you a little bit more about the particular composer and also about each of the pieces within. And I have to say, although I kind of knew these classical pieces, it's lovely to find out a little bit more kind of about them from the back of the book as well. So a really fantastic, we've kind of often gifted these to people, and they do make really, really lovely gifts. Then we couldn't not mention The Invisible Guest in Moomin Valley. If you have not fallen in love with the Moomins yet, where have you been? The Moomins are wonderful, and this one is one that Floss has adored for a very long time. It's very much kind of a picture book, but it's again a much more kind of meaty one, so you've got a lot more story kind of there. So if you've got a little one whose attention can be really held by a story, then this type of book is fantastic for doing that. So beautifully illustrated. And yes, a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful story. And this one is where the dear Ninny, who has been very mistreated, comes and stays with the wonderful Moomin family and soon learns to find not only her voice but herself again, because she'd been so badly mistreated that she turned invisible. But what better place than to find yourself than in the Moomin house? Then at the back, there is a video where I'll pop it in or pop it in the description. We'll see what I managed to work out. That if you like Isadora Moon and there's an Isadora Moon fan, then these are some of the recommendations that we would go for. The Spy Club, you can find out lots more about that. There's a blog post on the website. I'll pop a link to that one. Then we have a poetry recommendation. Now, we went and had the pleasure of seeing Kate perform her poetry live, and that meant we had to buy the book because it was incredible. She is a spellbinding poet who reads her poems with such incredible energy and expression that even somebody who isn't interested in poetry, I think, would come away absolutely loving it. So it's black and white, but there's still illustrations throughout, which I always think is really nice, especially for kind of a poem with kind of poetry, where it helps children to actually comprehend some of what's maybe in the poem that maybe they didn't get at first. But there are so many, so many wonderful, wonderful poems. Now, unsurprisingly, this poem here, this is a sensible fart poem, is where the poem page was really heavily open from. Because I'm not normally a fan of kind of books that are all about kind of, I don't know, farts and things like that. But this poem is incredibly hilarious and a must read. So if you haven't had the joy of this Otter Barry book, A Dinosaur at the Bus Stop, it is a wonderful collection of poems. I don't think we've come across a poem in there that we do not love. So that has been our whiz through of the Bookworm Buzz for this time. There will be another one that will come out at the end of next month as well. But they're not kind of time specific. So if you've dipped into this, it doesn't matter kind of when it was. Hopefully this will give you some ideas that might tempt your little one into maybe kind of reading something that's kind of the same but different, a bit like kind of the Isadora, or if you're looking for a particular kind of topic, like I say, the book match this time was very much on bees. So I hope you've enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for watching.